we're going to finish up with prefixes for your med term for chapter 1. Okay, prefixes all come at the beginning of a medical term word. So let's start without them. So whenever you put an a or an at the front, it's just like putting a negative sign in front of a number, right? So if you have 1, the opposite of 1 is -1, right? So you put that negative there. When you put an a or an in front of a word, it's just like negating it, okay? Ought or auto is by itself or on its own. So if something is automatic, it just does it. Dia, like diameter, is complete or through, right? So dia, like diagnosis, is complete knowledge, right? So that's when you get a diagnosis from a physician. It's because they know you have that condition. Endo means within, like an endoskeleton. Humans have an endoskeleton. It's inside of our body. Epi is above, so we saw this with epigastric, which is pertaining to above the stomach. Exo. Exo is the outside, so like an exoskeleton. There's some bugs out there that have an exoskeleton. Hyper, this is above or more than normal or excessive. So you can have hyperglycemia, which is a condition of having too much sugar in your blood. Hyperactive, too much energy, right? Hypo is deficient or below. So hypo is like hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. Okay. In means into or inside, interior, right? Okay. Peri, like a perimeter, it's around, right? We learned with periodontics that they work with the structures around and supporting the teeth. Peri, like a pericardium, is the sac that surrounds the heart. Okay, surrounds, pericardium. Pro is before or forward. Trying to think of a word with pro. Anyways, re is backwards, like retro, reverse. Okay, retro, behind. Sub is below or under, like substernal means below your sternum. We use that term to refer to chest pain. Then you have trans, which is through, like transdermal, like a transdermal injection, which is where they stick a needle through your skin. Okay. So a lot of you are really worried with how you're pronouncing words. Are you pronouncing it correctly? A lot of times it's tomato, tomato, but in general, let me move that up there. So you're going to see this line, okay, if the sound is long, like ape or open, okay. If it's a shorter sound, like with apple, ah, instead of a is the long vowel, ah is the short vowel, apple. And this is this little doohickey here, so like a smiley face, right? Or pot, that's short. Okay. Adenitis, biology, cephalic, iatrogenic. Say that 3 times fast. Iatrogenic, resection. Now you should be able to hit reverse 10 seconds on here. So if you're worried about how you're saying things, please repeat it after I say it. And you can always go back 10 seconds at a time and review them again. So adenitis, biology, cephalic, iatrogenic, and resection. Okay, so those kind of take into account the long vowel sound and the short vowel sounds. All right. So this kind of concludes the first chapter of medical terminology. Okay. I gave you packets. All right. So this is the book. I just went ahead and had the first chapter completely photocopied for you. And I gave you highlighters yesterday, but I really want you to read and highlight what you're having a hard time with or what you think is really important. Okay. And then you're going to find that later on in the chapter, okay, there's going to be some blanks, right? Some blanks, on each of these pages. Okay. So try your best. Look up the answers. All right. I also had the worksheets copied for you. Okay, so these are all the chapter 1 worksheets. It's a lot, so I'm not going to grade them for completion, but I do want to be able to go over them with you. So please get as much done as you can. All right. I don't expect everything to be done by all means, but it's good practice, and you're not going to learn medical terminology unless you practice, all right? Unless you have some sort of photographic memory, which I envy you. But I took medical terminology after I'd been an EMT for many years, and I still had a hard time with medical terminology. And it's not until you practice and you use it over and over and over again that you really start to be able to utilize it in everyday medical conversation. So thank you for paying attention, and I will be back with our next video.